Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Daily Cannon's Tactics Board. I'm Stephen Bradley, and once again, thank you for the response so far to these videos. It's greatly appreciated. If you do like the content and want to see more, please like the video, subscribe, comment, anything. Just, it helps obviously with us. And yeah, if you want to see more of these videos, please get in touch. We're more than happy to bring you as much of this content as we feasibly can. So fingers crossed you like it, and away we go. And this week's video on Arsenal's 3-0 victory over Newcastle is less of a tactics lesson, more of a life lesson, because this is one of those occasions where you remember that you should never, ever copy someone else's homework without at least looking at the question first. Because on Monday night, Steve Bruce was caught looking at Roy Hodgson's homework, and then the teacher asked him to explain his findings, and he had no answer. And let me explain why. Because here's how the two teams lined up. Arsenal, same 4-2-3-1 as on Thursday night against Palace, and Newcastle lined up in the same 4-4-2 that Crystal Palace lined up. Now, I know if you're trying to scratch your head and think, wait a minute, Arsenal played Palace on Thursday, I don't remember that. Congratulations, you were able to wipe that god-awful game from your memory, and I wish I was like you. But unfortunately, some of us have to keep, remembering that for work purposes and for doing videos like this. So allow me to, refresh your memory a small bit. When Palace lined up Thursday night, it was 4-4-2, but it had a couple of tweaks just to try and keep things nice and narrow and compact in the middle of the park so that Arsenal were forced out wide. Now, what Steve Bruce did was he literally copied and pasted Control-C, Control-V, copied tactics, put it on a piece of paper and said, here's mine. Because he lined up 4-4-2. He played Carroll, who was playing the role of Christian Benteke, Callum Wilson, who was playing the role of Wilfred Zaha, Joelinton, who was playing the role of Ezekiel Eze, and Almiron, who was playing the role of Andrews Townsend, a left-footed winger on the right, a right-footed winger on the left, and then big man, little man up front, one to hold up the ball and one to run and make runs behind. The problem is that as much as this worked for Crystal Palace, it worked for Crystal Palace for two reasons. One, Crystal Palace's fullbacks are actually competent. And two, Crystal Palace's wingers were actually willing to defend. In this game against Monday night, this didn't happen. And as a result, Arsenal found a little bit more space and a little bit more freedom to try what they were hoping to do and execute their game plans, which we'll go over in a second. But maybe more to the point, when Roy Hodgson lined up the way he did, and then Arsenal lined up the way they did, it played into Crystal Palace's hands. Because against Crystal Palace, this man wasn't here. This was Ainsley Maitland-Niles. This man wasn't here. This was Dani Ceballos. And Arsenal play completely differently with these two people in the side than they did Thursday night. And when the team sheets were announced, and when Tierney was put in, and when Partey was announced as he was starting as well, yes, I know Newcastle had a couple of injuries, and yes, they had to make some changes. But you cannot then stick with the same system, knowing full well that Almiron is there to cover the inside runs of Ainsley Maitland-Niles when it's Kieran Tierney playing. And you absolutely cannot play Matty Longstaff and Jonjo Shelvey when you've got someone as good at breaking the lines of passes as Thomas Partey in the side. You just can't. And it just fed into the same pattern of play over and over again. And the only surprise of the first half was that Arsenal didn't score. Arsenal were finding the same space down the left channel again and again. And what wasn't working on Thursday night, because Kieran Tierney wasn't there, was working on Monday night, because he was. And I'll explain. If you are a long-term Arsenal fan, you will remember how Arsenal attacked between 2002 2004, especially like that proper invincible sides, when it had Lauren and Youngberg on the right. Everyone recalls the fact that it was Pires and Henry and Ashley Cole on the left wing and they destroyed teams. But during the first half of the games, the ball would never go down the left-hand side. It'd always go down the right. They'd always try and draw the defence in. And Arteta is kind of doing the same thing at the moment with Arsenal. If we go to the heat maps here, well, let's see. Saka, obviously playing right wing. Smith Rowe, playing as an attacking centre mid, but out on the right as well. And then Cedric Suarez adds to the three. You can see how much of the ball is on the right wing at the time. So now compare this to Kieran Tierney, who again was bombing down the left, but it's not as much. And then Aubameyang, does Aubameyang add much to that? Not really. Aubameyang's doing a lot more in here. So, and then Xhaka, of course, is sitting there in the middle. So, a lot of the ball is ending up here in this right-hand side and in this right-hand channel. Because what Arsenal are doing is Saka's going out here, Smith Rowe is going out here, Partey is there, and Cedric is going out here. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to get the ball out to the right-hand side as much as possible. And as a result, the two centre forwards go there, Luis goes there, and Tierney goes wide. Shelby goes there. And the whole point of it isn't so that Smith Rowe finds Saka and then Saka finds Cedric down the right, even though they did for the third goal. But they only did it for the third goal because they were going on the first and second. What happens is Saka gets the ball here, Cedric gets the ball here, Smith Rowe gets the ball here, they knock it around. And what they're trying to do, and Lacazette will come deep as well. The whole point of this is to get Lascelles to do this. Now, I know it's subtle. And he's probably in like real terms, he's moved maybe 5-10 yards tops to his left, just to cover over that space. But what they're trying to do in getting Lacazette to here and Shelby to here, and Carroll and even Xhaka will come back here just as a third centre back at times. What they're trying to do is they're trying to make sure that Tierney and Aubameyang have a 2-on-2 against Almiron and Kraft. And it happened again and again and again, to the point that Almiron was seeing Partey do something that Dani Ceballos can do at times but doesn't do it often enough. Something that Xhaka almost to a point stubbornly refuses to do. Where if he's in this position here, let's swap them. If Xhaka's there and Partey's there and Luis is there and Holding is there and Xhaka sees that, Xhaka is brilliant at the long ball there. He's okay at that ball there. He will not pass it to Lacazette or Smith Rowe. He won't. He'd look sideways, he'd look back because he doesn't want to give away the ball. And that's fine. But Partey has no such compunction. Partey has no such fear, has no such hesitance. If Partey sees that ball there, if he sees Longstaff and Shelby do this and Lacazette comes with the ball, it'll go in there straight away. He'll break the lines and suddenly it's 5-4. So as a result, Almiron, when Partey has the ball, also tries to act as a little bit of a cover, just to try and cover off lines, thinking that he doesn't have to worry about these two. And poor Kraft. I felt sorry for him at times, because what Aubameyang did brilliantly was Aubameyang would never, ever, ever go down here. He would always stay in and around this area here. We go to the heat maps again. It's not going to show Aubameyang as much, but you see how he's there. He's never there. He's occasionally there, but he's always there. He's always in here. That's Lascelles. He's there. He's always running down that channel. And what he's doing is, he's making Kraft make a choice. He is saying, I am going to run down here. You're the right back. I'm the left winger. I'm your man. Are you going to cover me? And Kraft knows in his head, if he goes even slightly inside to help Lascelles, who is covered over to Lacazette because Clark and Lewis are facing a 3-on-2. If he goes, right, I'm going to cover that side. And time and again, Tierney was able to get crosses in. They weren't particularly devastating. There was one really good ball, but they were okay. But he doesn't need to be successful from here. All he needs is the threat of being successful. We talked Thursday night on how Ainsley Maitland-Niles did exactly the same thing 2 minutes in. First cross, left for peg, bang. Straight here. Straight into what might as well be a Google website in the stand. He put it 20 yards past the goal. It was completely ineffective, and Crystal Palace's right back for the rest of the game, did this. He said, well, I don't need to worry about that at all. Shelby, for Crystal Palace, this was Townsend, knowing that Maitland-Niles was right-footed, he was going to cut in there. So Townsend did this, and then this isn't a threat all game against Palace because there's no left footer. Eventually, Saka was made play left back because he was the best left-footed threat, but even then he didn't have so much success. So Newcastle tried to copy that and failed miserably, but it wasn't Tierney that did it. It was Aubameyang, and it was Partey. Because whilst Saka and Smith Rowe played almost the role of distractions, played almost the role of decoys in effect for the first goal, just to try and get the defence over here, it worked. It worked 3 times. But to Lascelles' credit, as Kraft was absolutely petrified of covering Tierney and basically leaving Aubameyang to Lascelles one-on-one, Lascelles did a really good job of defending Aubameyang one-on-one. Like, it has to be said, because what Lascelles did all 3 times, because in your mind's eye, you can imagine how if Aubameyang, let's move Kraft and Tierney out of the way for a second, and Miron's there. Aubameyang would get the ball here and Lascelles was there. Which side of Lascelles do you think Aubameyang wants to go to? Does he want to go down to the left or does he want to go down to the right? We all know he wants to go down the right. Why? Because he wants to cut in on his right foot and curve it in. Curve it in into the far corner. I know that, you know that, the world knows that. Lascelles knows that. And what Lascelles does brilliantly is he backpedals diagonal, but he does so whilst continually opening his body so that Aubameyang has to go this way. He has to go left. He's not allowed to cut in on his right and try and pick one in the far corner like he's done, dozens of times for Arsenal. He has to go on his weaker left foot. And he did that 3 times. First time, he completely scuffed it. Lascelles was brilliant. He scuffs it straight at Darlow. The second one, when Saka gets in behind Lewis and Clark, he puts in a wonderful ball. Darlow comes in. Lascelles again has this bit covered off, so Aubameyang has to go around him. And even with an open goal, he still didn't score with his left foot. So it's like, oh God, he's 0 for 2. But 5 minutes into the second half, presented with a counter-attack, Partey did what perhaps only Partey will do in that midfield. He spotted a runner 40 yards ahead of him and pinged it. And it was at a time, 5 minutes into the second half, Arsenal were coming out of the blocks quick again. But it's that willingness to try something. It's that willingness to make a pass that might not come off. That willingness to do something that has every chance of failing. And from a Newcastle free kick, Partey found Aubameyang there. Aubameyang gets to Lascelles. Lascelles once again forces him on his left, but this time it's the goalkeeper's fault. Because Darlow, the poor man, thinks that, well, he's already scuffed 2 with his left foot, he's going to scuff the third one. He's going to go for precision. He's going to make sure of this. He's going to try and make sure he at least gets it on target. Aubameyang, after scuffing the first 2, goes, bleep this, I'm thrashing this as hard as I can, I don't care about technique, and he pulls on it. And as a result, because Darlow thinks it's going to be another finesse shot, another one with a bit more precision, he goes low. Aubameyang smashes it. It goes high. It goes into the roof of the net. It's 1-0. And after that, Newcastle, I wouldn't say they collapsed, but their shape fell apart. Kraft, Almiron pushed a lot further forward. Shelby, who's an attacking midfielder at the best of times, basically tried to get a bit further forward. Carroll was running out of steam because he was playing well, to be fair to him, trying to hold up the ball. Wilson was an absolute non-factor. Another decent game by Holding. Deserves his new contract. Whether you think he's going to be first choice or not in the next years or 2, I don't know either. But if he's not first choice at Arsenal, it's very much going to be an Emile Martinez situation, where in a year or 2, if Gabriel and William Saliba becomes first choice, and Holding goes, do you know what, I'm 27 now in 2 years' time, I want a bit more, I want to play. I need more game time. I think I'm a Premier League starter. Sell me to somewhere that will play me. Arsenal will get 20 million from easy. So it's a prudent decision. He's good backup at the worst. He can, start against most teams. He's a good player. Just good player. Is he good? Is Holding going to be the defender that wins you a title? No, but he's a good player. So this game proved it as well. He's able to keep Callum Wilson very quiet indeed. Cedric was decent as well. But after the first goal went in, one person stole the show. And I know that Arsenal lost one of the best number 10s in the last 30 years, who's now gone play for his boyhood club in Istanbul for Fenerbahce, and good luck to him. And I don't know if Emile Smith Rowe is the answer. But the last month should give him the opportunity, at least, to prove that he is the answer. Because Arsenal's second and third goals were sublime. And their second goal especially. And it was all down to this man's ability to know what to do at the right time. And it is such an impossible skill to teach someone. Because when running with the ball, A, knowing where to go, B, knowing who's around you, C, picking out the right pass, and D, executing the right pass are four things that are hard to teach anyone. It's almost impossible to get them to know all four at the same time. And when you do, you're usually like, the last person that's shown that they can do this is Jack Grealish. And maybe before him, especially in British terms, it's Gareth Bale. Just the ability to be able to run with your head up, to have the confidence and the comfort of having the ball at your feet, whilst knowing that not only are you in control of it, but you can get rid of it at any time to any player in any circumstance. And Smith Rowe has this, and nothing really shows that better than Arsenal's second goal, because it was another counter-attack and Aubameyang had the ball. But once Newcastle had gone 1-0 down, Lewis pushed up, Clark pushed up, Lascelles pushed up because they were looking for a second goal, Shelby pushed up, Longstaff pushed up. They were pressing. And what it did was, with Aubameyang here trying to get down this channel again, what he did cleverly, along with Lacazette, who also had a good game. But with Almiron trying to cut in and trying to get in here, it would leave space for Tierney. And Tierney would get the ball to Aubameyang, and Kraft would go here. And then Lascelles, who was deathly afraid of Aubameyang getting past him again, was now trying to double him up. Both Smith Rowe and then Lacazette would come here looking for the ball. What Smith Rowe and Saka did was they saw all this space here and their eyes lit up. And they're like, happy days. Because as much as the plan was for Smith Rowe and Saka to get the ball here and for Cedric to bomb on, and that's how the third goal is scored, what Smith Rowe and Saka are brilliant at identifying is weaknesses in the opposition and then pouncing. Because as soon as Lascelles went one step forward to try and catch Aubameyang, Smith Rowe was in and Saka was in. Lewis there, Saka was in. And that was it. Lascelles then recovers. Smith Rowe has the ball here. Lascelles manages to get back in front of him. Clark is then back idling. Smith Rowe gets to here. Lascelles tries to cover, overruns him into the box. Saka scores 2-0. Game over. We need players at this club who have the ability to diagnose situations like that and have the cojones, have the temerity, have the bravery to act on their instinct and go forward. For years, we have had an attack that when Alexis Sanchez was here, he would run at teams, but no one else would. Xhaka would stay back, Elneny would stay back, Welbeck would stay back. Giroud in his game, his game is based on not doing this, but coming back and trying to link in other players. Ramsey as good as he was at off the ball running, needed someone to find him the ball, and it was usually only Ozil or Alexis. It's that desire to get the ball quickly, to go as fast as possible from A to B, and not take a second touch or a third touch, and slow the tempo down. It's the ability to go at teams at speed when given an opportunity, because you know that as soon as you take a second or third touch, the defense can recover and the chance is gone, and then you got to start again. And Smith Rowe is showing an ability and a desire to risk it, to take chances, to like he did against West Brom, where he was the third runner, where he would go around the back so that Saka and Lacazette could find him. Like, these are the things, these are the little things, the little details that separate good players and good teams, and great players and great teams. As much as, Liverpool might rue the fact that they haven't scored in 3 games for the first time in like 5 years, their number 9 is not there to play as a number 9 in Roberto Firmino. Roberto Firmino is there to do this so that Mane and Salah can get in and then he finds balls. Lacazette is kind of doing the same thing at the moment for Arsenal, where he's trying to link up so that he gets the ball here, defender comes to him, and then Saka can do that, and then Cedric is in, like what happened for the third goal. And whilst this didn't work against Palace, it did work against Newcastle, because here's Alexander Lacazette, 37 touches in 90 minutes. It's not great, but it's more than 20. Like, these are the little things that Arsenal need to work on. They need to work on getting Lacazette the ball here a little bit more, and then letting Smith Rowe and Saka go past him. If Aubameyang's playing, fantastic, he'll attack that thing, that channel there. If Martinelli, who came back off the bench and looks like he's back fit again, thank God, is fit, then he's another runner that when Lacazette comes deep, he's more than willing to go in that channel as well. What Arsenal need to do over the next couple of months, because they have time, because they're 10th in the league. Like, it's not like Arsenal are going to be challenging for the title and even the top 4 at this stage. We're 1 point ahead of Aston Villa and they've got 4 games in hand. What Arsenal need to do over the next 4 or 5 months is figure out who's here to stay and who's here to go. And whilst they have that time is a luxury at the best of times, but they have some now. Because with COVID, obviously, like every other club, Arsenal's transfer kitty is not as stuffed as it should be. And there are holes in this team. I still think they need at least one more centre-back. If Saliba's not the answer, sell him and bring one in. They absolutely, definitely need at least a backup left-back. Now, where you'll find one for 10, 12 million that's willing to be, sitting behind Kieran Tierney, who knows? But you should be able to find someone. A defensive midfielder of some ilk to take the pressure off Partey so that Partey can go forward as well would be very much appreciated. Because as much as Xhaka has improved over the last month, his limitations are clear to be seen too, because if you had a second Partey, or someone who had at least the same athletic ability as Partey was being also good on the ball, Xhaka's performances over the last month would not be the outlier, as they have been. They would be the norm, because Xhaka's biggest limitation is the fact that he can't do this, even though he was bought to do this. When Wenger bought him, we said, oh yeah, he's a box-to-box midfielder, and then 2 months later, oh no, he's a deep-line playmaker. A deep-line playmaker because he can do this, and then he does this. He can sprint up, but then not sprint back. Or he can sprint back and then not sprint back up. Like, it's English football, you need athleticism here more than anything. And Partey showed that. Even though he only played for an hour. Look what happened when Elneny got in. Suddenly the ball was doing this more often. It was going back side to side, side to side, side to side. Partey's in, it goes forward. He breaks the lines. That's going to be the next progression for this Arsenal side. Once Partey gets integrated further, because he's only played 6 games. Give Smith Rowe some time to learn the ropes, because as good as he has been so far, his best attribute is running with the ball, And we've really only seen that once, and that was for the second goal. Let Lacazette learn how to play with Smith Rowe. Let Aubameyang learn how to play with Smith Rowe. Let Saka finally get used to a position that he's not left back. This looks natural for him. He's played 5 games there for Arsenal. He's got 4 goals and assists. Let him learn. This team is young. These players need time. They need to bed in. And it's going to be interesting over the next couple of months just to see them going through the inevitable teething pains that a team like this is going to experience, because the last 4 games have been good. The last 5 games have been good. But they've been against a Chelsea side out of form, West Brom, Brighton, Crystal Palace, and Newcastle. It's not exactly a murderer's row. We are playing well against teams that we should be playing well against. Once we get up against a better caliber team, then let's see how well we fare up. Anyway, that's it for this week's edition of the Daily Cannon Tactics Board. I've been Stephen Bradley. Again, if you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like, a comment, and if you want to, get more of these videos in your inbox, hit subscribe, click on the bell button, and we'll be in your inbox every week. And if you want more of my, real-time analysis, or you just want to listen to an Irishman spout nonsense all the time, feel free to follow me on Twitter at Bradley08. We will see you next time. Good luck.